welcome back. It's the Tuesday TTS Daily with me, Yi. Tuesday stands for T stands for Trigger Tuesday TTS Daily. Just coincidence, every Tuesday all the stories we cover will trigger you unintentionally. I just finalized the stories for tonight and I kind of lost that initial chirpy mood I had at the start of the video introduction because I thought we were going to be covering some stories on like disputes over like MRT seats or seats on the bus, that kind of, lighthearted, trivial, but still triggering matters, or maybe some arguments in the fast food restaurants. But oh my god, the 3 stories today, and 2 of them being in Singapore, and I don't even know how to give you a brief summary. Number 1 is in Thailand, another school bullying story, this time the teacher being bullied. This number 2 is about this old dude in Singapore who just keeps re-offending, doing really bad, explicit stuff. I really need to slowly cover these stories because... And the last story, it's also regarding another offender targeting minors for, I don't know what you call this, grooming, explicit activities. What is up with the world right now? The world needs healing. Before we begin, I just realized all 3 stories today involve teachers. Either the victim or the defendant are teachers at some point in their lives. And the acts were committed when they were teachers too. What the... The story begins with this horrifying video that shows a 16 to 17-year-old schoolboy in the classroom assaulting his own teacher, a female teacher. From the videos, you can see he landed several heavy hitting blows to her head area. And the teacher really restrained herself, only blocking, not retaliating. And the classmates in class were screaming and doing their best to protect their teacher. And this schoolboy finally even kicked the teacher once from behind. And all this happened just because he scored 18 out of 20 marks for a test or / exam. This just happened recently on August 5th, 2025, and it was recorded all on this CCTV footage. Can you just count the number of blows that landed on her head? Okay, now for context. Once again, this happened on August 5th, 2025 in Thailand. So this male student, this boy, asked the teacher how many marks did he get, okay? And the teacher told him, you got 18 out of 20. Why? Because there was one question where you're supposed to explain your workings. I don't know, is it a maths or science paper? But everyone who's been to school and taken exams since primary school will understand if a question gives you 3, 4, 5 marks and you only give the answer without showing your workings, you would probably only get 1 mark or 2 marks max out of 3 or 5 marks, right? You have to show your workings and explanations to get the whole working. So apparently this boy gave the answer in only 2 lines, directly giving the answer without showing the steps or his thoughts or his workings. So it's fair, everybody knows this, let alone this boy is 16 to 17 years old. He should have gone through enough tests to know this is the norm. But he got angry with the teacher and saying that he deserved full marks. So the teacher told him, if you don't believe, you can ask the other teachers. So he left the class and he went to ask other teachers how much would they have scored him based on this question. The other teachers also agreed that most likely he wouldn't get the full marks because he didn't show any workings, right? And that left him even more infuriated. The teenage boy told the teacher, you should apologize to me. The teacher said, why should I apologize? Even the other teachers told him, how many marks you finally get on that question depends on the discretion of your teacher for that subject. Anyway, he just decided that, nope, He deserved full marks. He got up and started assaulting the teacher, as you can see from this video here. So even though the classmates were trying to protect the teacher, it only finally stopped after a male teacher came in to intervene. Okay, as of now, what we know is the teacher suffered bruises, swollen head, bruising to the eye, and serious rib injuries. Remember that like lunging kick to her back that she got from the video. The boy's parents has apologized to the teacher. The boy was suspended and he later resigned from the school, and the teacher has promised that she will be pursuing full legal proceedings against the boy. The only thing that we don't know is if she would be able to, because I think he might be considered as a minor. Anyway, look, bullying is happening a lot in schools. We have covered so many bullying stories. It happens Singapore, Malaysia, China, and now Thailand. And not just students, it happens in school, outside schools. Even teachers are at the risk of bullying. I'm just saying, I don't know, man. We need to instill more discipline, okay? People need to know FAFO, okay? Fool around and find out, okay? Make sure that they do not try to FAFO, okay? Okay, we're done with story 1. Next to the second story. Oh. Man, why can't we just have disputes over bus seats? This man has been caned a total of 36 strokes of the cane, and he keeps re-offending, targeting young children. Trigger warning, everyone. Really trigger warning. And it also involves a teacher, this time the teacher being the defendant. Our last story a day later after this is also involving a teacher, a former teacher, okay, both are former teachers as defendants. We're not here to ruin your day, but we need to spread awareness. We need to increase awareness on such atrocities happening in our society. Story 2, story 3 happened in Singapore itself. Okay. Terence Taver, 60 years old, has just been convicted for the 4th time on August 11, 2025 for explicit offences against children. Okay, when I said the word explicit, it means another word. I have to use safer words because of censorship, okay? But it is required so that we can spread more awareness, okay? He has spent 1/3 of his adult life in prison for similar crimes since 1999. This is a repeat offender we're talking here. And his conviction now for the 4th time, he pleaded guilty to 3 charges. I will go through his offences, but I'm going to go through as briefly and summarize as brief as I can because this story gives me discomfort. It makes me sick, okay? He has pleaded guilty to 3 charges involving 2 victims. The first one is inappropriate touching of an 8-year-old boy in September 2023, outrage of modesty. And the second is an explicit assault of a 9-year-old boy in 2007. And the victim is now 26 years old. 2 charges of unnatural explicit activity. There were also 3 additional charges to be considered during sentencing. Okay, so this is his 4th conviction, by the way, okay? So for his 4th conviction, the first offense on 2023 involves him befriending an 8-year-old boy in his neighborhood over a chess game. And then he will frequently meet this boy playing chess at the corridor outside the boy's flat. During one time, on September 27, 2023, Terence Taver hugged the boy from behind and slipped his hand into the boy's shorts. The boy told his mother about the incident the next day. She reported to the police, and Terence Taver has been arrested on September 29, 2023 and has been remanded since then. Okay? And now for the second incident that caused him to be convicted for the 4th time is a 2007 incident when Terence Taver explicitly assaulted a 9-year-old boy. The victim is now 26 years old on 4 occasions at Peace Connect Neighbourhood Link, where Taver was center manager between July and December 2007. The victim only reported in 2021. Remember, we mentioned that Terence Taver was convicted 4 times. So apparently before he started working at Peace Connect Neighborhood Link, which is a neighborhood community center for the children and the elderly, I'm just going to read as quoted by Straits Times directly here, okay? Because we do not want to get implicated by certain things when we're just trying to increase awareness, okay? As written in the Straits Times, the chairman of the organization knew of Tavor's past convictions but gave him a chance and told him he had to be supervised whenever he interacted with children. I am feeling really sick talking about this story. Okay, we've covered all his latest convictions, his charges, okay? And now we're just going to very briefly go through his past 3 convictions. 1999 to 2000, he inappropriately touched 4 10-year-old girls when he was a primary school teacher. See? Involved formerly a primary school teacher. He was sentenced to 8 years jail and 24 strokes of the cane in 2021. 2008, inappropriately touched an 8-year-old boy at a neighborhood outreach center and was sentenced to 1 year in jail in 2010. And then there seemed to be another conviction for between 2027 and 2008 where he performed explicit activities on a 10 to 11-year-old boy, and he was sentenced to 13 years jail and 12 strokes of the cane in 2014. The prosecutor has called Terence Tavor an incorrigible sexual predator who exploited 8 children over 60 occasions from 1999 to 2023. The prosecution is seeking at least 18 years preventive detention due to high reoffending risk, or 21 or 25 years jail, plus 3 months in lieu of caning. As he's over 50 now, he's exempt from caning. He has already been caned a total of 36 times. Terence Tavor's defense requested 8 years of jail, citing Tavor's voluntary treatment for pedophilia at the IMH Institute of Mental Health in 2021 as evidence of rehabilitation efforts. I'm not even going to comment on that. Terence Tavor's sentencing will be determined at a later date pending preventive detention suitability report. This 33-year-old secondary school teacher from Singapore lured a 15-year-old female student to a hotel, kissing her there and even trying to. This is your last story of the day. Follow us for more as we help increase awareness on social matters that really matters. Breaking news, this teacher just pleaded guilty to 4 counts of violating the Children and Young Persons Act with 3 additional charges taken into consideration. So background context. This male teacher was employed at a secondary school from 2017 to December 2021. And the 15-year-old victim met the teacher in 2018 and began frequent social media communications by May 2021 and even confiding in him about personal and school issues. This teacher then introduced adult topics, explicit topics to the student, and by September 2021, even expressed a desire to have explicit activity with the victim through text. However, he used limited time messages, disappearing messages that disappear after a set amount of time. And on October 2021, he lured the victim to a hotel room under the pretense of discussing school matters, kissing the victim's lips and neck there, and made explicit advances. He only stopped because she felt uncomfortable. He later drove her home and even questioned why she refused him afterwards. The victim was so distressed that she subsequently deleted her social media account. In early 2022, the teacher informed the 15-year-old victim that he actually had prior complaints against him. Apparently, the teacher also had 2 previous victims before this current 15-year-old victim. He sent messages to former students aged 16 and 17 during that time. Once on April 2021 and once on September 2021. And these messages were explicit in nature, trying to pursue explicit relations. However, he also used the same limited time messages, so it's really hard to get evidence against him. However, the 2 former students did report his actions to the school. We do not have further context on exactly when did these reports happen, but this teacher was aware of these reports as he was able to tell this to his 15-year-old victim. We have to ask ourselves, could victim 2 have been prevented if victim 1 had reported earlier given sufficient time? Could the latest third victim, victim number 3, the 15-year-old victim that was lured to the hotel, be prevented if reports of victim 1 and 2 receiving these explicit messages from this teacher have led to results faster? Okay, this is the context that we are lacking right here. So back to early 2002, he informed the 15-year-old student that there were complaints against him. She then reported him to the school days later. The 15-year-old victim experienced strained family relationships, sought medical help for stress, required sleeping pills, and frequently cried at school. She has suffered lasting psychological harm. As of March 2022, the teacher was no longer employed by the Ministry of Education, the MOE. The teacher remains unnamed to protect the victims' identities as mandated by court. So now the teacher has pleaded guilty to 4 counts of violating the Children and Young Persons Act, with 3 additional charges taken into consideration. And on August 11, 2025, he has been sentenced to 9 months in prison. 9 months in prison. Need I say more?